opportunity for the next couple of days to have as the chairman stated, to have our departments to come in and give you some overviews on it. This is not intended to be to give you every detail, but to give commissioners and citizens kind of as the chairman said, an update, an idea of where they are, services they carry out, and issues they may be facing as we move into the budget process. So I'd like to start off. I tell everybody one of my no prejudice to the other departments, but one of the more fun departments, the solid waste department, because it's an enterprise, operates like a business, is a business, it's a big business. And we've got a great director, and I'd like to turn it over right now to Tim Rogers on solid waste. And I believe you also have a handout with these reports as we move through the day.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Like Lee said, I would just want to say thank you for the opportunity to come up and share a little bit of information about the department. Pretty proud of our department and what we do out there. We've got a really good staff, and I feel like we do a really good job for Wayne County. The Solid Waste Department's mission: the Solid Waste Department provides a variety of safe and affordable disposal and recycling services to the citizens and businesses of Wayne County. Why manage solid waste? Our department must ensure that the county solid waste is managed in accordance with the state environmental regulations. The department also wants to make sure that we provide services to the citizens to make it as convenient as possible for them to get rid of their waste or recyclables or anything else they need to get rid of. We want to make sure we keep the county as clean as possible, and obviously that's a big help to doing that, is having a convenient way for them to get rid of their trash or recyclables. Some of the most essential services that we provide: we've got 13 convenience centers throughout the county. We accept, obviously, trash and any kind of household recyclables there. The sites that we have the room to do so, we've also, in the past few years, we've added a couple of bins to accept furniture, metal, and white goods. White goods is your refrigerators, washers, dryers. We feel like that by adding those two bins, we've kept a lot of furniture and white goods off the side of the roads, which we were having some issues with in the past, or out of the woods. Anytime that they can take it down the road, and we try to educate them and let them know that it's free, it doesn't cost them anything. And we have cut a lot of that out in the past, and that's one thing we continue to strive to do as far as adding services at our sites, whether it be cooking oil, motor oil, filters. We continue to add every day to try to keep it at our sites or at the landfill where we can handle it properly. We also obviously operate a landfill facility at Dudley area. We actually operate two landfills. We operate a MSW landfill, which is our lined landfill that we talk so much about, but we also operate a C&D landfill, construction and demolition. And that's important because, unlike some counties, we're able to keep all of our construction debris out of our line landfill. We don't want to put anything in that line landfill that we don't absolutely have to. Obviously, it was a pretty expensive venture to have that third cell built, and we don't want to put anything in there that we don't have to. So anything we can possibly keep out, whether it's through our recycling efforts or anything that we can possibly put on our C&D landfill, that's what we try to do. We offer a broad range of recycling. We do electronics recycling, carpet recycling, and we'll touch on it here in a minute, but we're also trying to start a shingle recycling program now. So anything that we can recycle, we try to do that, and we're constantly looking to improve in that area, anything that we possibly can. We have annual licensing for our solid waste haulers, and what that assures is that if a company comes in Wayne County and they want to haul trash from businesses or from a community, that they've got the equipment they need to do that, that they're not just throwing it in a trailer or a pickup where it may blow or you may have leakage in the communities. It's got to be a sealed container type truck with where we actually inspect those and make sure they're in good working order. And that's one of the things I think has been real important too, as far as the trash blown and such things as that. We have added in the past 5 years, we have added a solid waste enforcement officer at our office. And his job is to go out and educate the public on what you can and can't store at your home. The ordinance in Wayne County says you cannot store solid waste on your property more than 7 days. If the enforcement officer, and he's constantly patrolling throughout the county looking for illegal dump sites, or he will look and, if he sees somebody storing something, he'll give them a notice saying, hey, you've got so many days to get that up. One of the most important things that he's done, though, is if we have illegal dumps, whether it's on the side of the road or on somebody's property, he goes and investigates and tries to make sure we find out who the owner of the waste is, and they're fined, and also they're made to get it up. So that's something that I think over the past few years we're getting less and less of, by people having to do that and actually pursuing that, and not sometimes in the past we just get the state to go get it up, and but I think it's important to maybe get the individual out there and hold them responsible for the actual dumping of the waste, and it's definitely cut some of that out. So it's a lot less than it was at one time. We offer several special events during the year. One is a household hazardous waste event that we have in the second weekend in May, and that's to any homeowners that have any kind of pesticide, herbicide, any kind of chemicals that you don't want. We've got a company that comes in and takes care of that for us, and like I say, we do that once a year. That's something we started about 3 years ago, and so if people call and they have something hazardous, we can tell them and say, hey, we're going to have the folks out here to know how to handle it, and obviously that keeps them from pouring it out or putting it in the waste stream, which we don't want. We also have 2 amnesty days a year. We have one in April, one in October, and the reason we started doing that was it gives the people that maybe have some waste that they would normally be charged for, and they would not bring it to us, or they would haul it and dump it on somebody else's property or get rid of it some other way. On Amnesty Day, they can bring it to us. We won't charge them anything, and that helps clean the communities up, and we get a lot of response from that. It's normally 2 of the busiest Saturdays we have out of the year. So I think that's been really popular with the public, to be able to give them an outlet to get rid of that. The Department of Revenue, we're 100% self-sufficient. We're enterprise fund, as Mr. Smith said. And where we get our money to operate is the household user fees is one part of it. The landfill tipping fees, which is what we collect across the scales, is the majority. We do get monies from the state on that help us with the scrap tire recycling, the white goods. We get some money from the state to help with the white goods program. We also get a portion of the solid waste fee. In North Carolina, you pay the state $2 per every ton of waste that goes in the landfill, and last year we paid them about a little over $200,000. We got $63,000 of that back. Another way we fund the department is through recyclables, the sale of recyclables. I think that all that together helps us keep our tipping fees low. We're the lowest in the state. If you look at some of the counties surrounding us, Duplin's $42 a ton, Lenore's $44, Sampson's $45. The closest to us is Johnston. They're $35 a ton. We're at $30 a ton. And I think we do that by, obviously, we run a lean crew. We don't have a lot of bodies out there, but I feel like we do a good job with the folks we have. But we try to make sure that we keep the tipping rates low. I think that helps the county, especially if you're trying to get industry to come into county. I think that's an important, but not only that, but for the citizens, we keep the costs down for them as well. One of the other forms of revenue we have is through our methane power royalties. We got about $60,000 this year from them. That's helped, obviously, fund the department. Like I said, I think we run a pretty lean staff out there. We've got 56 total folks there, but 32 of those are part-time, regular part-time, which is our site attendants. And we have 2 part-times that work our white good area, and we have 4 part-time scale operators. We only have 20 full-time employees, and that includes our office staff. We have three mechanics, heavy equipment mechanics. We do all of our maintenance in-house. Anything we possibly do, we do it ourselves. Any kind of fabrication we need for the department, anytime we need something done at the sites, any railing build or anything like that, we do all of that. We keep all of our trucks and equipment up, obviously, and obviously that saves us a lot of money as well. There's not many counties that have that, and I think we're lucky to have that facility out there and good folks to manage that. That's obviously saved us some as well. The Line Landfill is a multi-million-dollar project. The total cost estimated, it was our cost initially was just under $4 million, but they value it over 10. But we were lucky enough, we had the soil on hand there, the landfill, to build it. If we'd had to buy all the soil and have it trucked in, it'd been over $10 million. So we're lucky that the commissioners over the past few years have purchased land, and we've got the dirt there to not only to build the landfill, but we have to use so much each day for daily cover. So that's a big cost of the landfill process, not only building it, but to continue to operate it. And we've got more than enough to last us for way years to come. Our estimated lifespan right now, we should be good to 2053. I feel like we'll be a little better than that because we're actually averaging a couple of years ahead of each sale. They said each sale would last us about 5 years, and it's lasting us 7 to 8. So I feel like we'll actually do a little better than that. But we're obviously in good shape for a while now. That's 3 sales at 22 acres apiece. That's only 66 acres, and we own almost 900 acres. So you could see, so we could go on sale 4, sale 5. I mean, we're good and way down the line before we have to worry about that. We obviously have a leachate collection system, which is one of the biggest expenses of the Line Landfill, but that makes sure that we collect all that leachate and it's treated. We pump it through the city's wastewater treatment plant, and they take care of that for us. Make sure it does not get into the ground or surface water. We have a gas collection system. Obviously, that's to prevent any methane gas from getting into the air. We have methane migration monitoring system to prevent it from migrating off-site. And we have probes all over the landfill, and they are checked once a week, and we make sure that the levels are down. As we've put these new sales in, though, the new wells in, we've had no problem, which we've never had any problem with grass migrating off-site, but that's been a big benefit. We operate, I mentioned we operate a separate C&D landfill, and that's actually on top of a closed MSW landfill. We just got our 5-year permit to operate it for 5 more years, and like I said, that's great because that's that much we're not putting in our line landfill. Our MSW tonnage, obviously you can see by the chart, kind of goes as the economy goes. In the past 10 years, we have received as much as 93,500 tons a year. That was in '05. That was our highest year. Our lowest was 2010. We only collected 60,700 tons. We're averaging about 6,600 tons now. I mean 66,000, I'm sorry. And like I said, as the economy goes, that's kind of how your waste goes. So we're hoping that that'll continue to increase as hopefully the economy does. Our C&D landfill is a little different. It's constantly trending up and down depending on how much building you have, and obviously that does correlate with the economy somewhat. We've had a little bit of a spike in 2011 due to Hurricane Irene, and that's something that can affect us from year in year out on our C&D. We collected 4,900 tons of storm debris from Hurricane Irene, so that's affected it as well. We've had some, the bases redid some of their housing out there, and we got all those old houses, so that helped us out too. That got our tonnage up somewhat, but C&D is really, all over the place sometimes, but we're lucky we have it. Like I said, it definitely keeps our MSW line landfill lasting for a longer period of time. Our recycling program, just touch on it. We obviously recycle paper, white goods, batteries, used oil, aluminum cans, glass, plastic containers, electronics, and metal. We've also, in the last couple of years, we've started recycling used carpet. A company came to us out of South Carolina. It's Wellman Plastic Recycling at Johnsonville, South Carolina, and they wanted to try this. We wanted the first counties they came to. The state kind of sent them our way and said, hey, I think they might try it, and we said, hey, we'll do it. So they set a trailer out, and we just put the used carpet in that trailer. They only take carpet, no padding or anything else, but so far we've done about 100 tons of used carpet through them, and obviously that's something else that we're not putting in the landfill. So we're glad that program's worked out. We also do used cooking oil. We've done 2,000 gallons of used cooking oil last year, and we send that to where they actually come pick it up. It's Piedmont Biofuels out of Pittsboro, North Carolina, and they're making biodiesel out of that. We do about 160 tons of recyclables per month. The majority of that is paper and cardboard. We also do 35 tons a month of scrap metal and about 15 tons a month of white goods. And that's all revenue for the department. We sell all the recyclables as well as the metal and the white goods. On the horizon, we're going to be changing the way we do electronics. We had a company that was picking up electronics. We had these pods set around throughout the county, and we would fill them up, and they would come haul them away from us for us. They wouldn't charge us anything. And I guess as the market has declined on that a little bit, as far as the prices on the electronics, they're not going to be able to do that anymore. So what we're probably going to start doing now is we'll get all the electronics there at the landfill, and we're going to have to palletize them ourselves. We do have a company out of Baden North Carolina, that said they would come in and haul them away for us. Wouldn't cost us anything, but we will have a little bit of labor as far as palletizing them and getting them ready for them. But like I said, it's still something we kind of have to do. The state's mandated that we cannot put electronics in the landfill anymore. So we've got to kind of bite that bullet and do that. The shingle recycling program, like I said, that's something we're trying to get off the ground right now. And what that amounts to is we would take all the shingles, set them to the side. When we got a load of shingles up, the company would come in, pick them up, and they would pay us $8 a ton for the shingles. We get about 2,500 tons of shingles at the landfill. If we could keep them clean and get $8 a ton, be around $20,000 a year. So we're excited about trying to get that going. We're going to be expanding the gas collection system. We've got a couple more spider wells to install in cell number 2. This is something that methane power is footing the bill on those wells, and obviously these are wells we would have to install. They're mandated by the state, you have to put those in. The average cost of them is about $80,000 a well. This will be 10 in cell 2. When we get into cell number 3, they'll also be responsible for putting 9 to 10, and I'm not sure yet how many wells they'll put in cell number 3. But not only do they cover the cost of putting those wells in, they also maintain them, which is a big benefit to us. Saves us a lot of labor each year having to do that. And obviously the revenue we're getting off that's great too. That's all I have. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman. Yes, sir. Mr. Rogers, going back to the shingles, am I correct in assuming that shingles never dissolve or disintegrate in the landfill?
That's right.
This is a great thing that we can do to get that out.
What they'll do is they'll grind them out and put them in asphalt paving. You know, is what they'll be doing with them. But yeah, it's a great thing. We're really glad that somebody's come up with that process, and you know, to make us money too. But it also keeps it out of the landfill, and we're always looking for ways of keeping things out of the landfill.
Do you have an idea of any percentage of what goes in our landfill that will not dissolve over time?
Honestly, in the MSW, 90%, probably.
So the goal is to get all of those out of the landfill.
That's right. Yeah, it is. And eventually, I think we will, as the processes are improved. Years. I don't know how many years it'll be, but eventually, that's right. That's the way it'll be. I believe that.
Thank you,
Mr. Chairman. One thing Tim didn't mention, but I want to give this is I'm going to give Tim a pat on the back. He thinks, as you stated on some things, out of the box. The board thought ahead to buy land, to have soil, to cover, to build the sales, but something, this may be small, but I think the other day he came in and was giving me a report. Every couple of weeks Tim comes by, and one of the things is he has an area where we have concrete being brought in, separates it out. He's working with a company that will grind it at a cost, at a reduced cost, that he'll then use for road construction, so we don't have to buy the material, and we're saving, I mean, I can't remember the exact number.
About $60,000.
By doing that. I mean, so but using the material, keeping it out of the landfill, those things that don't break down, but using it for construction, and it just saves us more money, and that's innovative thinking. I mean, I'm just very proud of them.
And what that is concrete that we have gotten in that's too big to use. If it's something that comes in like busted brick or something that we can put on the road, we won't charge people to bring it in if it's something beneficial to us. But this is large hunks of concrete. We actually would charge them $30 a ton just like anybody else, but we found a company that would come in and grind that for $7 a ton. It costs us about $16 to $18 depending on fuel to get it hauled to us if we were hauling rock in. So we've got about 4,000 tons on site now that we've had stored and trying to get a company to come in and grind that. When we move into our new cell, obviously we'll have a lot of roads to build to get in there, and obviously it's a lot of rock we normally buy. But I think this is really going to save us a lot of money in the future too, you know.
Mr. Cavardi.
Mr. Rogers, I want
Yes,
to
sir.
go back and ask you a question about your 13 convenience centers. They are located around in small towns and near the small towns. Is that pretty much like a Pikeville, a Mount Olive, or Fremont?
Well, they're not in any town, you know, they're in the county.
Sir?
They're in the county, you know.
So those is, the one that's located in Mount Olive, is that in town or out of town?
Out of town.
It's out of town.
The closest one to Mount Olive would be, I guess, would be Indian Springs, probably.
You mean a convenience center?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is that called over there that's right off of North Brazil?
Yeah, the town runs that.
So that's a convenience center?
Mm-hmm. But
Is
it's
that
the
one of
town
the
Mount
13?
Olive operates that.
It's not one of the 13?
No, sir, it's not one of our 13.
So the town of Mount Olive has to pay for
Yeah, they.
having it picked up?
Yes.
Municipalities have their own operations.
All right, I just want to ask one more question. If a convenience center is located near a town, and the folk in town use it, but it's in the county, then that town benefits from not having to pay the fee. Would that be correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So does that mean that all small communities are treated equal?
If they're using it, they are, at no cost. So that's a benefit that we do not receive money for.
Mr. Bell?
Thank you.
Oh, yes, I want to ask Mr. Smith and maybe Tim, how much did we pay for that land where we get the soil from back a few years ago?
I'm trying to remember the amount. I want to think that we paid in total,
16 an acre?
no, we paid $5,500 for, from Sleepy Creek Farms.
No, I mean,
Lately.
get dirt from.
Last week.
Yeah, that's it. We paid
Okay.
$5,500 an acre, and then, so I want to think total, it was around $1 million, I think, for all the land in and around to get us up to the 900 acres, because we own across the highway or Landfill Road, and all that going back towards Durham Lake Road.
And we have saved approximately how many $1 million by doing it?
Oh, moving forward,
Well, we saved $6 million on that new sale.
just on that
Just the
sale.
estimate if they'd have had to
Plus daily
haul the
cover.
soil in.
I think we figured one time it's over $30 million just for like 15 to
Yeah,
17
The
years.
reason I asked that, because we caught a lot of flack when we made those
It
purchases.
was a good investment, because the soil, if you got to haul it in now with fuel prices, you can't, it's a good investment.
No matter of fact, when Lenore built their sale, they built a 10-acre sale, and it was twice what ours, and theirs was 22 acres. But the difference being they had to haul the soil in. It's very, very expensive if you have to do that, so we're really lucky to have it.
Mr. Daughtery?
And did I understand you to say that you were pumping to the city sewer system?
Mhm.
So we've run a line from the landfill out there?
Yes, sir.
What size line is that, do you know?
I want to say it's an 8-inch. I
8
want
inch.
to say it's an 8-inch.
And I take it that we're tying into the county sewer system there in?
Right there at Marmac, there's a dump
Goes to the
station there at
general system.
Marmac. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. But no one along that line is
pressurized
connected to-
line.
Is that right?
It's a
Yeah,
pressure
it's
line.
just
It's just for the landfill.
All right. The other question was on the 3 mechanics that you said you currently have. They work exclusively for equipment there at the landfill. They don't do any work for other county vehicles of any kind.
Only our vehicles.
Only
yes.
your
Only
vehicles.
department. Mhm.
And that's full-time?
That's
These
right.
3 mechanics, is that
Mhm.
correct?
That's right.
They're CAT certified, Caterpillar certified mechanics. Because that's the only.
So really, they're for larger equipment, is that what you're saying?
Right. They're, which they do, I mean, we've got 4 roll-off trucks that we haul from the sites that keep those up, our equipment, pickups. But they also do all the fab work for for the landfill, anything that we need built for the sites. And they also, both of them are required. I have a maintenance manager and then 2 mechanics. All 3 of them are required to have their CDL license. So we're always pulling them, and that gets back to staying lean. We will pull one of them. He may drive a truck today if I need him, if we have somebody out, or he may run a piece of equipment.
So if you don't have breakdowns, you're using them somewhere else?
That's right. Or we always have projects at one of the sites or the other where we're doing, and that's what we'll do. We'll pull them and.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to imagine that you would have use of 3 mechanics. If your stuff's breaking down that much, then we're going to have to buy some new equipment.
Yeah.
But you're not using them every day, all 3 mechanics repairing equipment?
Not every day.
Okay.
Not every day.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Aycock?
Yeah, Mr. Rogers, I may have missed it if you said anything about it. Glass, I know a lot of glass. Is there, I know the glass market fluctuates, but is there a market at all for glass now?
There is. We actually haul our glass to Win Opportunity.
Okay.
And they've got a company out of Raleigh that comes and picks it up from them. I believe it's Clearstream Recycling, I believe is the name of the company. But we haul it to Wayne Opportunity and they take care of that. But as far as to clear it especially, there's a pretty good market for it now. Several years ago, you couldn't hardly give it away. But it's actually gotten better. And I think as the process has gotten better as well as cheaper, then yeah, there's a little bit of a market for it.
Okay.
Mr. Pate?
Just curious, you touched on it a minute ago about that carpet recycling. What do they do with that? And what kind of money we get back?
They grind it into a pellet. It's like a PVC, and they actually make car parts, the injection molding, the intakes and valve covers, and on the new Chevrolets, they're all plastic now.
I would have never thought that.
Yeah, that's what they do with it. They take the carpet and make engine parts.
What kind of money do we generate from that?
Do I?
What kind of money are we generating from that?
We don't generate any.
They just take it off our hands.
They just take it off our hands.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, they don't pay us anything for it, but, it keeps it out of the landfill, though.
That makes us money.
Yeah.
Well,
Mr. Kumar?
this is just an interest question. I was sitting thinking about the recyclables. Over time, as we switch from bottles with soda pop in it to all the plastics, if we switch back to bottles, and I heard you say there's not a lot of money in glass, but just from an interest standpoint, the benefits to the environment, would it be better for us to switch back to glass and use more glass bottles? And
Well, I think since we pretty much recycle all our plastics now, I think as far as environmental concern, I think that plastic probably is the way to go. Because you can make so many, you can take, they take those plastic bottles, you take your Pepsi bottles and you make car parts. They make synthetic lumber. I mean, they're making all sorts of things, clothing. Make a lot of clothing out of raincoats and stuff out of that now. So.
And once again, this doesn't, it's not about cost of county and things. I'm just thinking about the guy. Just about time you found guys who had bought them mopeds, fixed them a little curve. They're going along picking up the bottles, getting that refund on the bottles. Seemed like all of a sudden it switched to plastic. That wasn't quite as profitable for the guy. That's all. It's just a thought.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I've got a comment on
That's just to give.
it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, when we went to the grand opening of the gas, the turbine. What is that called? Tim, what was that unit?
Generators, the methane generators.
Methane generators?
Yeah, and it's going real well. Like I said, they've continued to add wells to pull more gas. They're actually going to they're looking now, I got a call of from their engineer that's in Britain, and they're going to go into phase 1 and probably upgrade those wells where they can pull more gas out of phase 1. If they do that, what they're looking to do is put a 4th generator. Suppose they've got that generator ordered. They feel like they'll be able to get enough CFMs to run it. So we'll go from, 3 megawatts to 4. So that will increase our revenue. And they're constantly improving our system, and they've probably spent close to $12 million completely redoing our gas system. And if you consider the site they built, which is top notch, they did a great job as far as doing that. Everything is great. But if they can continue to pull more gas out, then they're going to add a generator, and maybe the area is actually, they have it already pre-wired, and it's big enough to put 5 generators. So we've got 3 running now. They're going to hopefully order a 4th and could order a 5th in the future, when they get phase 3 going. So we'll see what happens, but it's been great so far.
Good. And that's on a lease, is it not, the
That's
purchase?
right. Mhm.
Or the equipment, do we get property tax off of that?
I'm not sure.
We get any property tax off of the equipment that they've come in? Because they leased the property, correct? I was wondering if the more they add,
It's David.
They're a private company, they have equipment here, they should be listing it with us, and if they are, yes, we're getting a truck.
all right.
And there may be some exemptions on that, because that was a discussion, because it is part of pollution control, and there's some exemptions up to sometimes as much as 80%, because they're reducing emissions into the environment, so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Mr. Bell, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think Mr. Smith was right, because we talked about that way back when they first started to initiate that program.
I guess the comment then would be, following that, just a follow-up question. Understand the property tax value and the investment they've made and the future investment. What percentage would you say our revenues are then that the gas is producing? What percentage of the revenue that the enterprise system gets in reference to what we?
To the total revenue?
I don't know what the percentage. We've collected 60,000 so far from them.
Year and a half?
Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing is the revenue is good, but they're installing the gas system at 80,000 a pop, and operating them is massive. So it's like there's the indirect savings, but it is huge, because otherwise we would have to do it, and we're not having to. So that's bigger than the revenue.
But the 80,000 is on them, it's not on us.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm just.
So that's probably the biggest,
Right.
biggest savings to, and that kind of like I say, it's indirect.
The
but
sharing
it's
of that
a big
revenue
number.
is the gravy. I mean,
Right.
it's just gravy on top of that.
Right,
So
right.
it's a great operation.
And finishing up then, with that said, is here, I was just trying to zero in on household user fees and landfill tipping fees. I see we're at $30 a ton, and that's great. But, it's always nice to know if you've got an enterprise system and you're generating revenue, and you're certainly setting those funds aside for future enhancement of facility, and we've got facilities that are running out now to 2055. And getting to what one commissioner said about the expense of keeping up the equipment and so forth. But we all understand that, but, reducing the fees is our main concern. If you've got an enterprise system out there, and $30 might sound great from 45, but it'd certainly be nice to get it down to 25 or $22.50 or $20. I mean, that's what we're into, saving money, but we're trying to make what we can get off the waste and, save the consumer or the citizen, the user, and trying to reduce it. And with that said, I really appreciate you coming today, and appreciate all the hard work your staff is doing out at the landfill. We have a huge asset, and I've heard that we have a diamond here in Wayne County, so I commend you. Any further comments, Mr. Aycock?
Tim, the company that's doing the collecting the gas and generating electricity, how many employees do they have? Do they have any full-time employees here?
They do. They have one full-time employee that kind of floats between, they have a Durham site as well. And he kind of floats between our site and the Durham site. He's probably here 2-3 times a week. They also have a separate employee that goes around and just keeps a check on the well field. And he probably comes in once a week, and he'll check all the wells and make sure they're all in compliance. They probably have, I'm going to say there may be 6 total that's in the states.
Mr. Pate?
Oh, one more question. Do they take care of all the maintenance on those wells, or do we do that, or?
They take care of
They take
all the
care of all
maintenance. They do. Mhm.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I have one other question.
Okay.
I just thought about. You can go to drop-off sites in particular, and I see lawnmowers, weed eaters, trimmers, I mean, oodles of them. And in most cases, back in the old days, when private individuals could get these out of the dumpster, all you have to do is replace the plug in a lot of cases. What happens to these small engine products? I've seen lawnmowers that were in running condition that were brought to a drop-off site.
Mhm.
Do we have a way of, what do we do with those? Do we sell them for scrap metal?
That's right. They're
Okay.
all sold for scrap metal.
Okay.
Sure.
Any other comments, questions? You just brought that to my attention on the drop-off sites, what do you call them professionally? What are the sites?
Convenience center.
Convenience centers.
Convenience center.
I've been to every convenience center in this county, and I'm telling you, I believe we've got the best helpers, workers, staff.
I do too.
Clean, grass is cut, weeds are pulled. It's impressive, and I
We
just
try and
wanted
keep
to
it as
pass
clean
that
as
on
possible.
to your staff, that in these convenience centers, we're really proud of them. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Thanks,
Okay.
Tim.
Thank you.